This is Joy News Today with me, Benis Abubedu. Thank you so much for staying. Now let's do some politics. The Progressive People's Party is demanding immediate constitutional reforms to ensure the practice of appointing metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives is scrapped. Yesterday, President-elect Nana Akufo-Addo announced a 2018 deadline to make the MMDCE position an elective one. But addressing a news conference in Accra today, PPP founder Dr. Papakwesi Nduom, who has at some point been an assembly member and also a member of parliament, asked the government to implement the policy within 1 year.
People's Party, it was formed in 2012, as you know. And it was formed largely as a reform movement with leaders determined to press for positive, fundamental change in the lives of Ghanaians. And after 4 years of its existence, the PPP has not won elections to produce the Member of Parliament or President, but has established itself as the up-and-coming alternative political party to the NDC and the MPP. After 2 elections in a row, 2012 and 2016, our party has placed third in presidential elections, admittedly with fewer votes than we had expected. But the PPP in 2016 also placed second in some parliamentary contests in at least 4 regions. So we are here this morning to fulfill a pledge made to the nation that we will not be a political party only for elections, and that we will stay active and push our change agenda and promote job creation. And that is what we are here to do today. Because during this Fourth Republic, it has become abundantly clear, whether it's the NDC in government or the MPP in government, that we improve, then we come back. This seesaw, forward then backward growth and development, that is what we have experienced in Ghana in this Fourth Republic. And this is something that has been a problem. And for the ordinary Ghanaian, it has been making them lose confidence in the democratic process, because you vote, you put NDC there. They make some gains. Then soon enough, the gains go away. Then the people become disenchanted. Then they go and vote. Then they bring in MPP. We make some progress. Then we go backwards again. Then people become disenchanted. And they go back and bring NDC. Then it looks like we're moving ahead. Then surely things go bad. This forward, backwards movement, it has to stop somewhere. It has to stop somewhere. And I am not just talking about elections, because when it comes to elections, Ghanaians so far have not decided to put aside NDC and MPP and go for a different political party. That is a topic for another day. But my point is, as a society, we have gone forwards and we've come backwards. And many people actually have been left in the boat, out of the boat of progress. And so for them, it is just backwards. And for others, they go back, they go forward, they come back. Then for those in the political class who happen to become close to power, they win, they progress. You can see the improvement in their lives. You know, you don't hear about them for 8 years or so. Then their party comes to power. Then all of a sudden, they're in the limelight. People talk about them. They have a voice. They look prosperous. But sure enough, they lose power. When they lose power, it appears they have nothing else to offer. Nothing. So they become very, very, very ordinary. And so they don't have a voice. It mirrors what we do as a society. So
now, away from politics, if medical practitioners in Ghana will change their attitude to work, the best environment they crave for to be able to deliver the optimum services required of them by their patients is inevitable. This is the position of the first female former chief executive of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, Professor Ifua Adjoa Jiktehese, speaking to Joy News' Beatrice Edu on the future of the country's medical practice. Professor Hesse was dismissive of the indifferent attitude the Ghanaian puts up towards work, particularly in the public sector, simply because it does not belong to them or any relation. She also encourages policymakers to develop more attractive pull factors to discourage brain drain.
I think that environment is any excuse ever for anything. There have been many instances where you don't have the optimum, but because of that, people have become inventive and done appropriate technology. And that in itself can lead to ramifications which have resulted in some new invention coming up. So it's the attitude. It's the attitude in everything. If you have a heart that is compassionate, you're going to put your patients first. If everybody has that compassionate heart, your patients are then going to also turn around and say, oh, this doctor is working so hard from morning to evening. Let me just send them something to cool their heart down. Doctor, this is for you. You've been working since morning. Thank you very much. You know, something that will show the concern and the appreciation. So it's an attitude which we all have to learn. I think that in the public sector in the private sector, we have perhaps a better chance at making it work. This attitude of abaying dear, who is abaying? Abaying is not your father or your mother. Why are you working so hard? I'm sure at Joy, you guys are not like that, because Joy is your father and your mother. If it goes down, you also go down. But in the public sector, it's not like that. So that's why the private sector has to take the lead in a lot of things.
How do you feel, Prof, when people who have been trained in this country, who are supposed to offer their services in here, choose to go outside because they think it's better there?
You know, that's a difficult question, because really I have studied and read so much about what we call pull and push factors. You can't judge people just on the front. I think it's unfortunate, because I know some young people who really would want to stay, but things are not making it easy for them to stay. There are so many things that may be happening within the public sector that is not making it conducive for them to stay. At the same time, they have families they have to think about, and they have a future they have to think about. There's some policies that would need to be changed, altered, so as to make this dream we have of seeing so many specialists develop in the country, trained in the country, going out to all the areas, for us to see it happen. But there are bottlenecks in policy. So you can't blanketly condemn everybody. But I think that the policymakers have more to do and to try and keep people.
Professor Efuahese is now the president of the Accra College of Medicine here in the heart of the capital. Let's do some other stories. Her sewing machine has dressed many children and adults alike in the remote Kani village in the Lambusi Kani district of the Upper West region. She started since completing vocational school in 2015, but it was only a few months ago that 24-year-old Rejoice was able to become formally established as a dressmaker. With one sewing machine, she's serving the clothing needs of hundreds of people in the community, especially during this festive period. But as Joy News' Nduom found out on his visit to Kani, the 24-year-old dressmaker hopes to gather enough money from her vocation to further her education even before thinking about marriage.
In a community far off the district capital of Lambusi with low economic activity, 24-year-old Rejoice is rewriting the narrative in a unique way. She's chosen to deviate from farming, which is commonplace in these parts, to pursue a passion, now turned a job. In 2015, the hearty Rejoice completed St. Monica Vocational School in the Upper West region and decided to practice dressmaking. With one sewing machine she acquired through the help of her father, she began sewing clothes for students and adults in the community until in July 2016, she rented a small room in the Kani market to formally establish a sewing enterprise. Rejoice tells me it's not been easy doing business in the community thought to have many impoverished families, with quite a number of them living with one form of disability or another. But she's able to get small contracts, which has sustained her work up until this point.
I'm from a certain place, Sigri.
Okay.
So I work in here and we can go home.
Oh, okay.
But this man that I came, I didn't go home.
Despite this, she hopes to save enough money from dressmaking to enable her further her education. In her shop are lined an array of beautifully sewn clothes she made all by herself. Customers had placed special orders for the festive season, and some of these orders were yet to be collected.
7 months.
He was asking if you are married. Huh? He was asking if you are married.
No, I didn't marry.
As low a fee as 5 Ghana cedis, villagers here can have a dress made for them with their own fabric. It will, however, cost 10 Ghana cedis if she has to provide the fabric by herself. That notwithstanding, Rejoice says business is picking up.
Check the cost that I used to buy the material and the cost that I would use to sew. So I would then sit down and calculate all.
I noticed she was doing the sewing all by herself, so I asked why. Her response pointed to the fact that some of the young girls in the community are lazy and unwilling to go through the period of 3 years as apprentices.
Because they didn't come. That's why I don't have.
So you alone, you are doing all this work. Is it not too much work, plenty work?
Yes, it's too much. But if the people didn't come, I cannot go to their house and tell them for the work. You're working. If the ladies see that your work is somehow or is good to them, they will come. But you cannot go to their house and tell them for the work.
With very limited resources and working tools, young Rejoice is putting her talent to use just so she could make some money for herself. She tells me getting another sewing machine, an iron, a pair of scissors, thread and some fabric will enhance her business. Challenges of self-employment are bearing their seeds at the young entrepreneur, but she appears unfazed.
I need iron, scissors, thread, tape measure, and machine. Okay. It's only one machine that I have. And if I get material too.
Unlike many parts of the 3 northern regions where young girls are sometimes forced into marriage, the story at Kani is different. Rejoice is not under any pressure from her family to get married. For her, marriage is secondary as far as her education is concerned. Elsewhere in the Kani community, with a population of about 7,000, 15-year-old Fati, a primary 5 pupil, takes time after school to herd her sick father's cattle. Through an interpreter, she tells us she's been doing this jointly with her half-sister since their father took ill some 5 years ago. Fati leads the herd of cattle to the community dam for a drink daily. She does this after school and on holidays. As an elderly sister, Fati assists in babysitting her younger sibling. She does this concurrently with herding the cattle. The shy-looking Fati, who spoke very little, says that's the little she could do to help her family, who also own a vast land. Other women here in Kani have found themselves one form of activity or another to generate income to support their households. But it is still the men who have the land, credits, and farm machinery, as well as the decision makers in this part of the Upper West region. Given the lack of affirmative action by the state to boost female participation in rural areas, several civil society organizations and international aid agencies have been working to foster local development with a gender perspective. For Joy News, Komla Adum, Kani, Upper West region.
Really inspiring stories there from Kani. You're watching Joy News today with me, Benis Abubedu. Daryl Kwa is standing by with the latest GDP figures for the third quarter of 2016. Please stay with us.